Hi, welcome to Attainable Green. I'm Jess, and today we're going to talk about my growing space and how I water and fertilize my orchids. Now, I'm growing in Southern California, and it's considered a subtropical or semi-arid climate. And that basically means that we don't get freezes here in the wintertime. We have pretty mild winters, but we have pretty long extended summers that can get pretty dry. My orchid collection is spending half of its time indoors and half of its time outdoors. I don't have all my orchids in one place. They're kind of scattered throughout my house and in my side yard and patio area. So all these different spaces make for some unique microclimates, and I'm trying to learn about them more and adjust as I go along so that I can get better growing out of my orchids. Most of my orchids are potted in an organic media, and that means it's potted in moss, bark, and some lecca or some perlite for aeration. I don't really use a semi-hydro setup as much, but I'm trialing it this year with my catasetums. And based on that, we'll see how it goes if I want to convert all of my catasetums to this PET method or keep it in a traditional setup. Since my collection has been expanding, it's taking a little bit more time for me to water my plants. And in order to reduce the workload, I am transitioning a few of my plants into self-watering setups. I'm picking mostly orchids that really love to stay moist all the time, and so hopefully we won't have any issues with that, and then I'll have less things to water. So the water that I use for most of my plants is tap water. So our city water comes partly from wells or groundwater, and the other half comes from the Colorado River and other sources that are basically pumped into Southern California. By the time it gets to my tap, the water is pretty hard. It has a moderate TDS level, and I would say it borders on the alkaline side of pH. So I guess the parameters would be pH between 7 and 8, a TDS between 200 and 300, and it's on the borderline between moderately hard and very hard. Since I'm using my city water, which tends to be a little bit alkaline, with my organic media that tends to be more acidic, when I pour the water into my pots, it tends to balance out to be a range that's suitable for growing orchids. So I'm not burning any roots, I'm not getting too much salt buildup, and overall the plants are still very healthy. I'm not going to go into too much detail about my water quality. I'm probably going to save that for another video where I'll give a little bit more technical detail about how my water plays in with my fertilizer routine. But for now, tap water, organic media, pretty good to go. So with fertilizer, I like to keep it simple. Overall, I'm using a MSU fertilizer that dissolves in water, and I'm using it at a level of 25 ppm of nitrogen. It's not that much, but I think it seems to be working well so far for me, and I'm going to see how it goes for now. I apply the fertilizer about once a week for most of the orchids that are in active growth mode. I'm also testing out using a NutriCoat slow-release fertilizer on some of my catasetums and phalaenopsis. I just want to make sure that they get enough nutrition. And for most of the orchids that are grown outside, I water with a hose and I don't have a fertilizer spray attachment. So the slow release fertilizer gives my outdoor orchids a little bit of extra nutrition. In addition to fertilizer, there is one supplement that I do use every so often, and that is a seaweed solution. Now, I don't use this on the majority of my collection. I primarily use it for seedlings to help them establish their roots and for repotted orchids to also help stimulate some root growth. And for recovering orchids that need an extra boost of nutrition, but doesn't need the level of a complete fertilizer yet. So that is a quick recap about my growing area, growing space, and how I feed and water my orchids. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments, and if you have any ideas or tips on how I can grow better, please let me know as well. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, Attainable Green, for the latest updates, and hit the bell so you never miss an episode. Bye!